You are now listening to The Black Spark, a podcast about actively balancing healthy relationships,
mindful parenting,
and mental and physical wellness in this crazy world.
I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
Welcome to The Black Spark.
Welcome to The Black Spark. I'm your host, Nia.
And I'm your host, Addae.
Y'all.
Really? Y'all.
At time of filming, Donald Trump has been indicted.
Oh, word?
Donald Trump has been indicted by the federal something.
The
DOJ.
federal something got him?
Yes. In the documents case. So he been going all over town, all over the place, talking about he had every right to take stuff. He could do what he want with the stuff. And he declassified it with his mind just by virtue of him having it and taking it. He was like, it automatically got declassified.
His executive power stretched.
So they have him on a charge where it ain't about the classification designation at all. It's about gathering, keeping, possessing, like national security documents.
Yeah, simple. Even if it's not that classified. Whether it's classified, it wasn't yours no more. It's not your job no more.
Obstruction of justice for moving of the boxes, misleading the people, the FBI,
saying you did, and then we come through and you still got the shit.
Yep, saying you gave us everything and then you didn't,
and then your lawyer gave you up.
Yep.
Come on,
Mark
man.
Meadows, his very last chief of staff, has flipped in order to be able to not go to jail.
Yeah. Hello.
So he's pleading guilty to some lesser charges. And that opens a whole can of worms about not only what he can say against Trump, but about other people. So, yeah, it's going down.
It's going down.
That's my check-in.
Wow, that's not even about you. Yo, but I wonder if those snitches will get stitches, though. Because they're supposed to, but I don't know. It's weird.
We shall see.
Well, congratulations on your week.
Yes, exactly.
Strange. Mine was great.
Ooh, that's not a great
If you are the kind of person who enjoys introspection and self-development and a little bit of masochism.
Okay.
So it was great because for my own personal development, I failed many times this week. It was profound. I fail on a daily basis. And my self-talk was, it was immense.
Aww.
And the self-beating up was just everywhere.
It's flagellation.
Self-flagellation. Yes. That word reminds me of whatever the hell that Dan Brown book it was. I forget which one because we used to love Dan Brown.
Angels and Demons.
Yes. Well, the self-flagellation created many, many opportunities for me to reframe and pick myself up with kindness and love.
Aww,
so
practicing what you preach.
Yeah. And so it was good. Good thing I got these tools to help me because, damn. If I sound sleepy, it's because I am. It was yet again another challenging week for fatherhood, given my son's emotional meltdowns. It sparked feelings of disappointment, inadequacy. I'm reading notes if y'all can't tell.
Yeah.
It sparked feelings of disappointment, inadequacy, sadness. And uncharacteristically, but I'm learning more about myself, compassion took some time to arrive.
Aww.
I was sitting there looking at him like, you ain't worked this shit out yet, man? The hell? Get it together, man. Yeah. And so with many other people, my first instinct is, what are they dealing with? I wonder what they're going through. And the problem for me, not for him, because I'm responsible for caring for him. The problem for me is I know what he's going through to some extent, and I'm like, just use the tools that me and your mother and your therapist and your life coach and your grandmother and your abuela, everybody, and your baby sister is telling you to use.
I will have
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
That I identify with that.
With him or with what I'm saying?
With him, because I have all the tools. And there is a seemingly huge chasm between what I know to do and then actually doing the thing. So I completely understand that feeling like you just can't. Or just feeling like you just can't. And it's not true. You could, but just the feeling of it.
Pero en este momento, no puedo. Ya no puedo. So I was also very disciplined in keeping the children on point with their routines, and it did help that there was very little homework.
Yes.
So I had psychological and emotional resources reserved, and I kept them to myself because I needed them for the shit that I was doing.
By keeping it to himself, he means falling asleep.
That's how you reserve your energy. You rest. Speaking of, I need sleep. I'm going to sleep right after this. I was working on a presentation throughout the week after hours because during business hours clearly couldn't get it done. My perfectionism and procrastination was in full swing, dually. I got to present today in Spanglish. It felt so very inadequating.
Oh, wow.
You see, I need sleep. It was so very inadequating.
I'm usually
I don't even have a PhD. I don't even have a doctorate. I'm not even allowed to make up words. I'm not a doctor. I was mostly embarrassed because I want my Spanish native speaking audience to get the same, equally as good a presentation as the English speakers.
I mean, you should feel bad being Panamanian. You should feel horrible to all of your family and loved ones who cared about you and spoke Spanish about you. You should feel like such a disappointment.
She's a keeper. You're great. You're a lovely human being. I was mostly embarrassed because I want them to get the same delivery that I give when I speak English.
You should feel the eyes of your ancestors sucking their teeth at you.
Chupsin. I realized in front of the entire audience that I could not deliver with the same charisma and swag without mastery of the language. It was very humbling.
Aww.
I felt stripped naked without my superpower. Thankfully, my colleague saved me just as she said she would. Be there for me.
Aww.
And it all went very well.
Yes.
But I kid you not. I mean, I haven't felt like this since I was at Stony Brook when I was a part of SAFE, Sexual Assault Facts and Education, a roaming troupe of performers. We would go to different classes, different professors would ask us to speak, and we would act out a scenario with these scripts in front of us.
Okay, you weren't dancing.
No. Sexual Assault Facts and Education.
I know, but you said performers.
Nah. We just stood in front of the room with these scripts and walked through his perspective on a sexual assault and her perspective, and then his friend and her friend. And it's really interesting. But anyway, so my very first presentation, I had to be saved by my colleague who knew the next line because I started out and then I stood there like this. And they said what they needed to say and nudged me. And then I went back to the notes. All you got to do is read the shit that's in front of you. But here's the thing, and I learned this. I studied a little bit of acting right after that, and I learned from colleagues. A lot of actors, what they do is get the adrenaline up before they start the scene, because when they get it's almost similar to police training and guns and safety. You got to get the adrenaline into your system before you perform the act, because during that moment, the rush of hormones takes over your system and it forces a pause. And so you're sitting there fucking buffering when you're supposed to be shooting at the criminal. You're sitting there buffering when you're supposed to be blocking the punch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're buffering because your heart just pumped. The shit just released a bunch of chemicals and you're like, it front of the room. So I had that moment, and it was in two languages. I kept on so good. Damn, man, Beth, why am I here? I cannot believe I signed up for this. You had so much time to prepare. What are you doing?
Wow.
So afterwards, I talked to my colleagues later because there was a few more presentations, and later on, and they were the people responsible for this. I approached them, and my colleague was saying to me, she was like, "Come in." She's like, "I'm dying.
You need a hug."
Yes. So it's amazing. A full circle. I knew this colleague who now has a PhD when they were a student when I was working at another institution 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So full circle, they saved me today.
Nice.
Anyway, I was like, "I'm so sorry." She was like, "You did great. You did great. Don't even worry about it."
I'm sure you did fine.
I did great. I'm an amazing human being. But in the moment...
I mean, people need to be saved.
So I'm laughing at you because I said to her, "Yeah, put that thing down." Because I said to her, I was like, "Yo, you don't even know what you did for me, so thank you so much." I'm standing there in front of the room, and I'm acting out for my colleague. I'm standing in front of the room looking at him like... And then I looked at her, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I said to her, "Am I Panamanian or not?" Because they can't tell. Oh, my God. It was so embarrassing. But it all worked out, and hopefully,
you'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was my week.
That was a long check-in.
Yeah, because I ain't got nothing else to say. You got the show.
Let's talk about them damn kids.
Let's
talk about them damn kids.
I love you too much. Do it loud. Do it louder. What is happening?
Yeah, so far we've had a rough week. Kyrie's behavior got progressively worse throughout the week, and it's just,
it was overwhelming.
It's overwhelming and it's challenging. It's like, when we first discussed him being gifted and having a high IQ, we said it's kind of like having a special needs child. And these emotional outbursts or these behavioral difficulties are the result of him not being able to access and explain what he's actually feeling.
Yes.
So I liken it to having a nonverbal child, right?
I know.
Because
it's like, bro,
I'm trying to figure out what's going on with you, and it's difficult. And I know that the behaviors are just because he can't get to the feelings. So anyway, we're working towards it. We're working through it, but it's been a challenging week. But shout out to me because I didn't take it on internally as much as I used to.
Nah, she just dumped it on me.
And
sorry, did I say that out loud?
Tell me how you really feel.
Yo, I'm in the kitchen. I don't know if I was working on dinner or working on dishes while the kids, I had just begun to feed them, and I'm doing multiple things. Her phone rings in the room. She ain't doing shit. The teacher calls. Addae, come here. What is he calling me for? I'm doing stuff.
I didn't. Sorry, hold on, I hit the table. I had already taken her call that afternoon. I was done.
Yo, come get this. She didn't give me no warning. Just Addae. So
no, it's your turn. I talked to her today. I was at work, and I had already spoken to her. I was done talking to her.
Oh God! So I'm dealing with my own shit in my own head while patiently waiting for these children to go to sleep.
Well, they were eating.
This show is great, y'all, because we like ranting.
Anyway, so I don't have any funny damn kids this week, unfortunately.
Okay, it's fine. Neither do I. But I'll say I'm gonna throw the girls under the bus a little bit because my son be getting stamped on. Tatum does this thing now. Either in our commute, it doesn't matter what direction. Sometimes she's tired. She did that 2 or 3 times this week. we get to where we going. She wakes up and says, "Bobby, was I asleep? Were you asleep? Are you awake now?"
Right. Do you remember how you got
Do
here?
you Hey, Bobby. Yes, Tatum. Was I sleeping? Yeah. Of course you were sleeping. If it dawns on you to ask that question,
Yes.
then you are
Yes.
awake now, which means you were just not awake.
Oh my goodness. I will say that
maybe she's dreaming so well.
no.
Go ahead, girl.
Anyway, I will say that watching her on her iPad FaceTiming and playing video games with her friends and screaming and laughing and having such a good time
is a good time.
Reminds me of all the days after school. As soon as we got home from school, we was calling each other on the phone, doing homework together on the phone, me and my friends, watching after school cartoons on the phone, watching sitcoms. The only time we weren't on the phone was when we were eating dinner or taking a shower. Any other time we were on the phone, to the point like your parents had to be like, "Get off the phone, I need to make a call," or "You better pick up the call waiting because it's probably for me, and if you don't pick it up and if somebody told me that they was calling me,
it's gonna be a problem. You better pick up the call waiting." Oh my goodness. Yep. Boop boop. Oh man. What they want?
Yeah. And they know you was on the phone because the answering machine didn't pick up after. So they knew you was on the phone.
But you remember it also rang different, right? It would go boop.
Sometime that was later in the
call waiting.
Later in the
technological development.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's so fun to see. It's just so fun to see. The only difference is I had an entire potty mouth by this time, and they
really
bro,
filthy animal.
Bro, I was a little grown woman by this time. I
did not have potty mouth till 8th grade.
No.
7-ish.
No. I was, as the old folks say, cursing like a sailor by this time.
Wow, this is filth.
Foreign filth. And that's the only thing that's different. These children are just so innocent. And I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. It's a great thing that I'm able to provide them, or we're able to provide them with a life where they don't have to experience the same kinds of stark, difficult realities. Yeah, however, also, it's handicapping them in that way, because by this time I knew a lot more about the world, and I was a lot more prepared, and because I knew about the world so young, I had a lot more time for it to fully sink in.
Right? Yeah, we got it.
So some of the things, like when we're talking to Kyrie about developing empathy, honestly, so much of that came from TV. So much of that came from all the adult shows that you sat and watched with your parents that wasn't never for you.
Falcon Crest.
Right. It came from even Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and getting hit on the head and dropping an anvil and all that kind of
damn swelling knot.
Yes, like you learn that you don't want to be that person. You don't want to feel these things.
Yeah.
Like, just these nuances that just were baked into
rainbows make you sore.
And to the point where I'm like, because in Living Color, not in Living Color, but yes, in Living Color, but not in Living Color. The Color Purple is coming out, and I have been talking to so many people like, oh my goodness, when was the first time you watched The Color Purple, and when is it appropriate to watch that with our children, because it has some very, very adult scenes in it and they're very, very adult themes. And I'm like, they need to watch it now. Like, they legit need to watch it now. They
and be uncomfortable. Like, what
and
is
be
that?
Uncomfortable and just
what are
understand that these are things that happen in the world. I was looking at, we're going on such a tangent.
This is great.
I was looking at tickets for Beyonce because I'm still trying to figure out if I can finagle it. But anyway, a crowd of 70,000 people, and like 20 at the low end, 25% of the women in that audience has been sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's just crazy for you to wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
Right? And we're not even talking about the men. You know what I'm saying? How many of the, and these are the ones that we can calculate. We don't know of the ones who are not reported, never said nothing. So when you think of these crowds and you're looking at people walking down the street and you're on the freeway or the highway and you're looking at people in these cars, how many of those people are sexual assault victims?
Preach.
So
and other things. Yeah.
Right? So I say all that to say it's definitely time to just get like a shove into
push them off the deep end.
What real life is, and hope that by seeing and watching these experiences of other people, it will help to foster more empathy and understanding.
We were definitely raised different. I got that from my cousins and family. I got it from TV too. It's funny as you say, if you speak about what you watch Tatum do, because it's great listening to her, yucking it up all the time, having a good time. And I didn't have that memory readily available until you said it. And now I got a flood of different learning lessons from shows and experiences and playing outside.
Yes.
Like these 3 human beings who live here, that's their cohort, right? Yeah. And so there's rules around what they're not allowed to do each other, so they never get.
They don't get it. Like, oh, that one's conceited. Oh, that one's a flat lever.
Yeah.
Oh, that one is, she backstabbing. She be talking behind your back. Like, all of that is social learning.
Yeah.
And these children don't get it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Then there's my sensitive baby. Sanai cried this week on the way to school for something devastating. Apparently, it's not fair that the 3rd and 4th graders have a pizza party this week, and the 1st graders don't.
Well, that isn't fair.
The child cried.
Yeah.
She forgot the fact of what her sister quickly responded with. Yeah, but you got 2 field trips this week.
2 field trips this week.
I didn't say nothing. I was like, your sister got you snapped up. Your brother's going to come in. So I'm just going to keep driving because I'm not part of this.
Grass is always greener, child.
And then finally, my son. They say it is easier to build up a confident child than it is to repair a broken man. But, ooh, boy, this building up.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So thank you for the blessing. I am looking forward to living into what it takes to raise these people. Yeah.
This is a pro-child show. Can't you tell?
No.
I'm just kidding. Do what you want with your bodies. Earlier today, we were talking to the children about making the best choices in every minute of your day and not holding grudges because tomorrow's not promised. So the question is the topic is how to not hold grudges in relationships.
I'm trying to figure out if I should give out my secret.
Ooh. Secret.
Forgiveness is not for the other person.
Right.
Forgiveness is for yourself. Holding grudges and hating and harboring feelings of that ilk. He said ilk. Is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer.
What is a boundary versus a grudge?
Depending on the relationship and depending on the severity of my perception of the wound, I might not tell you nothing. I just skate.
Yeah.
I ghost you. I don't care how long I've known you. And when we talk, and that's the problem I'm working on, I've been trained to be polite. And so I might still engage with you in a very civil and polite way. While I'm working through whether or not to say something to you. But anyway, yes. So, and then I've also trained to address the issue. So sometimes I just address the issue. Like, hey, can we talk real quick? Not we got to talk because that makes you nervous. Can we talk real quick? I've also been trained to ask, hey, I need your help. So I go into this thing of super humble because my rage is festering such that if I let it out, it's never going to lead to the result that we both need. So I'm like, hey, I need your help. I'm having difficulty. Please help me understand. I'm dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with this. Please help me understand what happened the other day. Right? Because I'm about to kill you. So, yes, I've learned to broach the conversation. But then sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I really upset about? Am I just being an asshole, or is this something that I really want to address? But it's multi-layered because I also look at what life is happening for me, not to me. What the hell's going on, and what is it just trying to teach me? Mm-hmm. And oftentimes I can find my responsibility in the situation. Okay. To such an extent to where I'll be like, yo, you know what? My bad. The other day I did this.
Mindfulness and reflection, self-reflection, and figuring out your part.
Yeah. Oftentimes I can find my responsibility in the situation to such an extent where I'm like, hey, I owe you an apology. And sometimes it's I owe you an apology because I didn't tell you how I really feel. I owe you an apology because I've been holding a grudge. And I learned it from Landmark too. I owe you an apology because I value our relationship and I've been holding a grudge for the last 5 years. I owe you an apology because I really love you. I want us to have the kind of relationship that you and I both know we deserve because we don't ever want to not be in one another's lives. And I've been holding on to something to such a point where you may not even see it, but I have had a difficulty. I don't know if you can feel it. I have had a difficulty in every single one of our interactions for the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you might not know that is telling of how deep my wound is.
I guess if we define grudges as having a persistent negative emotion internally about someone or something every time their name comes up, maybe that's what you would consider a grudge. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then I don't hold grudges. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I cut people off.
Yeah. That's a healthy thing. I learned that from you from the beginning. You were like, we don't do that.
Off.
We're not hanging out with that person no more.
We're not hanging out. We're not calling. And just like you, I be mad polite, but quickly. Like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Next. Yep. You get no energy.
That's it.
Yeah. When you value the relationship such that it pains you to hold that boundary.
That is proving to be difficult.
Yeah, but it's healthy to for whatever period of time you need to process before you can say what you can say.
You know, my best friend is a psychologist. Doctorate. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I can't even roll my tongue. But anyway, she said something a couple months ago that just has really stuck with me because so many times, and this is what we were talking about with the kids that sparked this conversation. We were talking about how, people die and, you haven't said, goodbye. You haven't told them how much you love them, all because you were holding a grudge and, you really need to clean up these relationships. And I said, okay, I'm talking to myself here.
Yeah, you did tell them that. Yeah.
I was telling my best friend that, and she goes, life be messy.
Ooh.
She's like, not everything is going to be tied up in a nice little bow. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. People might die, and you still would have been valid in your experience and in your processing of the situation if it meant that took a year or two or whatever for you to really be able to open yourself back up to that person, and that's what it would have taken. And it's not your fault if they die. Life is messy. And I was like, whew, that is very, very relieving. So, as I say all the time now about life, it's just vibes. It's vibes.
It's vibes, yo.
It's vibes.
You on a different frequency now, so I can't fuck with you.
Right. Yeah. And until you get to a more acceptable, a frequency that vibes better with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I'm not doing the Discord. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna allow this. I don't do crazy. I'm not gonna allow craziness to just be up and around.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And that's the healthy thing. So it's a beautiful thing that you're able to differentiate the two because some people can't.
Yeah, I'm not mad. Mm-hmm. I don't fuck with
you.
That's it.
I love it.
It's time for Ask Addae, where we read and answer a question from you, our listener family. Send your questions to itstheblackspark@gmail.com or message us on Instagram @theblacksparkpodcast.
Who sticks out as being an early positive influence in your life? And you can't say your father.
Oh, I always go with Miss Barbara Gathers,
Oh.
6th grade teacher.
Barbara Gathers.
Yes.
I hope she's listening.
Also known as Ms. Maymuna Brown in Facebook. She had a book and everything. Mm-hmm. Anyway, long story short, yeah, you ever been to a class where the teacher has all kinds of Afrocentric shit up? Egypt and Black Fists and Africa Continental Breakdown and like wearing the garb and everything and like speaking positivity into you and smelling like not patchouli, but smelling like oils and incense and bracelets be dangling and bracelets be clanging and earrings be knocking and
she took you back to the motherland
and nose piercing be in there. Yo, she was hitting. Mm-hmm. And speaking like way before Baduism. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, 6th grade had us listening to that damn. I told her on Facebook a few years ago that I got my kid. No, last year that I got my kids listening to Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy every morning because she made us do that the entire school year.
So also they're not going to have to do this next year.
Nah.
You're going to think of another song?
I don't know. We'll see because we only got enough time for like one song now coming up. That's going to be something that we miss. But she had us. I forget the whole mantra, but she had us reciting every morning, not just Bob McFerrin, but she had us reciting education is a key that unlocks the door to guide us through life forevermore. Oh. And so education is a key that unlocks the door to guide us through life forevermore. Nice. And so every morning she had us do that. She had us like real talk. Like when I went to other classes and when I talked to other students in junior high school and high school and college, most human beings never had a teacher like her. Mm-hmm. Most Black folks were not spoken positively, were not poured into. Mm-hmm. That, yeah, so, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she is and was the stuff. Plus, she was connected. She's the reason why I got to meet Dr. Yosef Ben-Yakinen and why we had annual trips to Egypt. She actually was one of the facilitators of some rites of passage experiences for young men and young women. Mm-hmm. So my best friend went through something with her and some brothers that she knew, and his 2 younger sisters, when they came of age, mm-hmm. also went through rites of passage stuff. That's part of what's the problem in these generations now. We don't have no rites of passage, blah, blah, blah. And that's, so, yeah, she's the stuff.
That's beautiful. Shout out to Miss Maymuna Brown.
Yes, there you go.
It's Nia's Need to Know. It's Nia's Need to Know. Ratchet Random. It's Nia's Need to Know. It's
yes, my turn. Okay, so I had already said Trump has been indicted. He is due in court this coming Tuesday, which probably will be when this episode drops. So might be today.
On today.
Right, on today. Mm-hmm. In Miami to be arrested and arraigned and promptly set free on bond. Mm-hmm. So look out for that. I'll be looking for the perp walk, although they'll probably have him go through the back door because, Cornel West.
Oh, man.
Cornel West
I did see that.
Is just starting to be... he's been for a while quite a disappointment. He has been such a great thinker and such a great political activist and political commentator. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here for you.
Thank you.
We're in this together.
And so many people on the internet say that the political spectrum is not linear. They say it's actually horseshoe shaped, and that the further left you go, the closer you get to far right. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened with Bill Maher. Mm. And that is exactly what is happening with Cornel West.
Really?
Anyway, he's running for president, and just
I saw the
it's a no. It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I used to love him. I still like him. Mm-hmm, my pops put me on to some stuff years ago. He was like, "Man, he's not Pan-Africanist. He's very straight line."
Yes.
But he told me some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, Really?
Yeah.
So,
he is married to a white woman.
Is he?
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah, no,
marry
but
who you want.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about that.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking. I didn't know that, but I'm just
I think people who are super pro black, when they find that out, they become very disillusioned by it. But I'm just, love is love. You can't really. You don't know who you're gonna fall in love with. So
yeah, I will say. I thought about you when I saw his social media announcement because it just reminds me of how the political structure is used to siphon off votes. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, as much as in a different world, it might be an awesome thing that he's running. I'm like, the way shit is set up. Right. Yeah, I don't see it.
We don't need you siphoning off anything.
I don't see it. And it's not like he's doing it on purpose. It's just that the way the system is designed is not, you know what I'm saying?
But then also, like, what are you actually bringing to the table? Like, what is it? People be having lofty plans.
A lot of thinking.
Yeah. A lot of thinking and then not knowing. Like, people are pissed off at Joe Biden and saying he's not doing enough. But he's done a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's just not the big things it's not the big leaps that we want to see. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just an issue as we get further and further into this technological era. We are used to things happening much more quickly. Like even with this indictment with Trump, they took it to Florida. Part of the reason is because that courthouse or those judges see cases faster. By faster, they're saying he might get a court date that's only about 7 months out.
Wow.
Bro. Mm-hmm. And then after that, of course, it's going to be more delays and more appeals and more things. So we're not set up for this shit to be taking years and years and years anymore. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, that was fine.
You're like, can't you just Google it?
Yeah. Now it's like, we don't understand this process anymore. But anyway. Mark Meadows, like I said earlier, he has agreed to plead to several lesser federal crimes in exchange for his testimony under a limited grant of immunity. So Trump was indicted on obstruction charges and charges relating to the Espionage Act. Let's see, Gavin Newsom is considering criminal charges for Ron DeSantis for sending, remember when he was sending migrants?
Busloads of people?
Yep, to Sacramento. So criminal charges for like kidnapping and stuff. So he's doing all that, which is great. But then he also was a no vote on the reparations task force for California, which is some bullshit. He's going to say, he said no because reparations is really about more than money. Which is true.
Yeah, but give me the money first. Where the more at?
But he didn't come with the more. Yeah. He didn't say, hey, why don't you include this, 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 and this? Yeah. What's really happening is he's trying to run for president. And there's no way he's going to get enough support to get the presidency.
Yeah, if he says yes to reparations. Right. Of course not.
You get the black vote. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But you're not going to get enough. You might be able to do it when you get in. Mm-hmm. Well, it's still You might be able to do it when you get in, but you're definitely not going to be able to do it on your way in. Canada's wildfires are causing smoke all along the northeast. Cloud in New York. New York is looking like California, child. We shouldn't need a viral video of a husband of a sexually harassed trainee fighting the male presenter who was the perpetrator of her sexual assault at an American College of Gynecology meeting to remind us that sexual harassment is a huge problem in medicine. Now, this is something that I didn't know. Apparently, all throughout the residency process where students are becoming doctors or have just finished medical school and are like interns and all that kind of stuff.
Being harassed and chastised and told they don't belong here.
Are being harassed. Asked for sexual favors, for preferential treatment,
oh, really?
Yes, it's sexual harassment and assault happening from the male doctor, heads of these departments in this medical schools. God.
Special treatment.
We may not talk about it, but there are exactly 0 women in medicine surprised that something like this could have happened.
Wow.
which is sad. Mm-hmm. And then the same person who posted this posted a picture of the recent graduates of medical schools and how so many of them are young women of color and things like that. That's not how it used to be. Yeah. And a lot of people didn't make it because of, not just because of, organic chemistry or whatever, but because of these harsh male oriented environments that have always just been toxic and dangerous to women. Another woman said, I'm not going to carry my baby just to bury my baby. This woman is from Louisiana, and her fetus was missing the top of its skull because sometimes,
oh goodness,
fetuses
should be
missing parts.
Yep.
She was sent home and told that she had to carry the baby, the fetus, to term.
Why would I do that?
From Louisiana to Florida, women are carrying fetuses to bury them. Couples are being sent home to carry non-viable fetuses. This is more than just cruel. It is torture. I said this before, I also want to know, with all of these 6-week bans and 12-week bans and stuff on abortion, how are they going to justify in vitro fertilization? Because you have to create a embryo, like you have to fertilize an egg inside of either a petri dish or whatever, put it in the woman's body to grow a little bit, and then they take them out, which is an abortion. Taking out, that's the abortion part of the abortion. To freeze it. So many people have frozen embryos because they're not necessarily ready to have children right now, or they had issues with conceiving, and so they,
the rebuttal is the intent. You intend on at some point bringing this fetus to life.
This fetus cannot survive. It's missing a head.
I'm just answering the other question. Yeah, you're missing a head. You got to go.
And this is why the whole idea of having a heartbeat thing, it's not a heartbeat because it's not a heart yet. These are electrical impulses that these group of cells can have, whether or not this group of cells has a brain or not. So anyway, piss me off. Pissing me off.
Come on, Doc.
Pissing me off.
Come on.
This week I learned that I just be burping and trying to be silent with it, but it ain't.
Sorry. You just learned that? Should have known.
This week I learned. I called a Lyft because I be lifting places. And I get into the car and the Lyft driver's like, are you from Cameroon?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, maybe. I don't know. They stole us. Yeah. He's like, yeah, because that name Nia, it's from my village. It's from my tribe in Cameroon. That's usually a last name. So what's your first name? And I was like, well, what happened was, I'm like, that is my first name now.
Exactly. Because you had to run from the government and change your name.
Yes, I'm on the run eating. So as I was in the car, I was just talking to him, and he's like just gushing about this name and how it means. What did he say it mean? It means like,
I don't know,
like beautiful something or something. And he's like, oh, I go home like 2-3 times a year. I was able to spend the whole pandemic at home and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, all of my Nigerian friends say I'm Igbo. They say I'm Nigerian. They say I'm Igbo. So does Cameroon border Nigeria? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So clearly when it was colonized, they just must have drew the line right through Igbo land. I was like, so I could be Cameroonian. I could be Nigerian.
I could be a different name.
I could be a different name because both of them are not our names.
Yeah.
But I just learned that. That was so cool. So now when we do make our way to West Africa, we have to do Ghana, we have to do Nigeria, and now we have to do Cameroon.
Sweet. I was thinking it's the Gap.
No, I think that's distinctly Igbo at this point.
Which
Which could be either one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I ain't learning shit. I'm tired.
Spark it up. No, go ahead.
Learning. No. I learned yet again the depths of my power are deeper than I give myself credit for. Mm-hmm. With
your English was hitting. Go ahead.
Oh well, that too. But as the presentation got on, I was actually more confident. Was able to say some stuff after the adrenaline first onset. But yeah, no, seriously, given what we are facing, and my life is not hard. Mm-hmm. I just got a lot of responsibility. I'm able to deliver, mm-hmm. And So I learned that I'm not as compassionate quickly as I could be.
Okay.
And I see so many things in my son that are reflections of who I am literally now and was back then. And it's gonna take me some work.
Okay.
To give him what he needs. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm here for it. And there's wine.
No, and also I don't want to drink anymore because I need my brain to recover from all the sleep neglect. So I gotta be substance free in order to make my shit right.
Okay. Whatever you need.
Yeah, you can drink it. Yo, remember last weekend when we had that first sip?
Yes.
I didn't want any more.
I had more.
I know you had you finished the bottle. I didn't want any more. My body was like, yo, what are you doing, man?
So you learned that you need more compassion and you shouldn't drink.
Yeah, I've never been an alcohol person.
All right, well.
Yeah.
In that case, you may need to spark it up.
Spark it up, yo.
Thanks for checking us out. Remember to follow us on Instagram at The Black Spark Podcast.
And if you like what you hear, leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening.